We are live, Rob, on the internet. Live on YouTube. We should always say, people who listen to this on their podcast thingy, we're on YouTube. We've been on YouTube now for quite a while, haven't we? I'm not sure how long it is, but it's been a fair old few months.
Yeah, so I am on the YouTube page. It is not live.
Okay, it's telling me it's live. We've had this before, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
How is that even remotely possible? Let me check as well while we're speaking. This makes good content, doesn't it?
This has happened twice before, hasn't it? Where it says it's streaming, but it's not.
Right, let's have a look. No, it's not, is it? Okay, brilliant. Why is it not streaming?
YouTube, hang on, let's go into the YouTube studio.
Definitely can't see it there. I've just gone into it as well and just reminded myself of the last show's title. Oh, yeah. Exceptionally happy about that sausage.
Right, channel content live now, unlisted, public. There we go. Publish.
Oh, here we go. Who can we blame for that?
No.
Who's getting fired? Probably me, to be fair. I might just fire myself. On the subject of probably needing to fire myself, anyone who's listening to this on the podcast network may notice that I probably don't sound very good. I can probably blame you for this, actually, Rob, because the last one that we did, I was sat at my dining room table. I think you said afterwards that it was nice to have it a bit more sort of relaxed and not sat in the usual filming position. I agreed. I thought, great. So I thought this morning, why not make a thing of this and just not use all the really good gear? So what I'm currently recording through is just the studio display for audio. The first thing you said when we started talking in the green room was it doesn't sound great.
Yeah, it's not the best. What did you use from your living room? Oh, that was the mics on the MacBook Pro, wasn't it? You had a MacBook on a stool, didn't you?
It was on my son's mini chair. Yeah, maybe that's the setup. So the verdict then is that the studio display probably isn't the one to use going. I'm not going to swap it right now because I can't be bothered. But yeah. This is a good follow-up review of the studio display in terms of can you use it for podcasting. I'm not using, on that note, the studio display camera. I'm using the Insta360 Link, I think it's called, which I haven't used for months and months, but it's a better image quality than what the studio display potato can do. So basically you just look and sound better than me.
Top. All right, well, at least my camera's working this week, which it wasn't last week, was it?
It wasn't. There's always something, isn't there, with this podcast? If it was good, if it was always top notch, then it wouldn't be that interesting, would it?
Ramshackle. That's what the people want.
Yeah, in a weird way, it's a little bit like I always think of Pink Floyd with this sort of stuff. Where I remember, I think it was Roger Waters or someone said that the reason we have all this massive production, all these lights and stuff, is because we're just four really boring blokes on the stage without all that stuff. So we're kind of using poor production in a completely different way to make this more interesting. We're just two blokes from England. What are we talking about? Not much has happened tech-wise, has it really, in the last 2 weeks? Is there anything? There are some interesting things, aren't there? I'm just looking through the hastily cobbled together outline for the show. Where do you want to start?
Well, we always start with your adventures, don't we? So you've been out and about with the Powerbeats Pro. So I'm assuming that was what you had to send back last time, was it? So last time we spoke, you were at home because you were waiting for Apple to collect something.
Yeah, that wasn't the Powerbeats Pro. No, that was a MacBook Pro.
Ah, okay.
Which did feature on the channel 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. No, but that was the MacBook Pro. I've still got the Powerbeats. Well, actually, Niall's got them. He's got them at the moment because he's been testing them on the track because he's a proper athlete, man.
What does he think about them?
Yeah, he likes them. Yeah, battery life, I think for a lot of people like him, and to a degree me, but for completely different reasons, they are the best fitness phones because from my perspective, they don't fall out when you lean back on a bench and if you're doing weights and stuff. Because any AirPod, in fact, anything, any in-ear stuff, for me, just falls out after a while. You have to go and, it goes pinging off into someone's, protein shake. It's not much fun. Whereas those just remain on your ears. And because he's flying down the track at God knows what speeds, it's important to keep them resolutely in your ear. So he likes that part of them. They're apparently, I think, I'm fairly sure, I know MKBHD mentioned this, and I was at the press briefing as well, which would have been similar to the one that he had, where Beats said that these are the best-selling earbuds ever. Well, not just for Beats, just ever. Which I've not. I don't think he double-checked it, and I haven't double-checked it either. But they are apparently just the best-selling ever. Not these ones, obviously, the previous Powerbeats, which came out in 2019, which I never owned. Did you ever have them?
No. Well, so I'm not big into fitness, but my Mrs. Rob is because she trains for half marathons and things. But she's got Shocks. So I'm curious to know how they compare to Shocks. So the reason she wears Shocks is because they're light and they don't fall off. And, when she's running absurd distances for hours, they're lightweight, they're comfortable, the battery life's good. But also she's aware of her surroundings because, she's to cover that kind of distance. You're gonna run out of countryside. You're gonna have to go through an industrial estate or two. So she really likes having that ability to hear naturally what's going on around her. But with the transparency mode, which I assume is with Apple gubbins, even though it's Beats branded, with the a lot of that Apple sort of stuff has made its way over, hasn't it? Like the H2 chip, it's got an H2 chip now. How is the transparency mode?
Really good. Yeah, it's pretty much on par with AirPods Pro 2. It's not quite as good. They share pretty much everything. So they have the H2 chip, some of the software stuff. They also use the iPhone to do the whole noise cancelling thing for telephone calls. So they've got pretty much everything that the AirPods Pro 2 have. But I think the slight difference possibly is the drivers. I think the drivers must be different in these Powerbeats, which means
a higher IPX rating or something, have they?
Possibly. Do they? I'm not sure. I just think that because the drivers do some of the work for the noise cancelling and I guess a little bit for the transparency mode, I think there's just a little bit of a difference there. So the AirPods Pro 2 are still just a notch above on both those fronts, but the transparency on the Powerbeats Pro is still better than any other transparency I've heard on any other AirPods Pro competitors, because it's Apple, it's that H2 chip, isn't it? That is the main thing about these earbuds, really, that the Powerbeats Pro 2, that it's the, as much as they will work for Android people, it's the Apple side of things, which is, if you're an Apple user, these are potentially, if you're the right sort of person, better than AirPods Pro 2.
So on the Android support, so obviously you've got the Beats Android app, and now it's got the H2 chip. So you've got fast pairing.
Yep.
What's that? You get like battery status widgets. Find my Beats, that sort of stuff. So it's pretty much on par feature-wise. What I'm curious about is whether or not it exposes the heart rate data to your Googly Health database of choice.
I'm not sure about Google Health. They've partnered with a whole bunch of apps, so things like Nike Run Club and something called Slopes and Peloton, I think, as well, and a few others. So for those apps, they do expose the heart rate monitoring, because that is then built into those apps, and those apps use the heart rate readings from the earbuds. I don't know about Google Health. I assume so. I've not tested it, to be fair, so I don't know.
I don't even know if Google Health is a thing, or if it was, it probably isn't anymore, because Google.
Is it a thing?
I have no idea. No, I was just curious as to. But even with that heart rate monitoring, why Why has it got that? Because anyone who's into that kind of thing is going to have a smartwatch at this point, aren't they? You know, whether it's a Fitbit or a Garmin or, you know, a Galaxy Watch or something. Is it more accurate than other things because it's bolted to your ear?
Not so much because it's bolted to your ear. I think the thing they were playing on again in the press briefing was the fact that they're leaning on 10 years of Apple Watch development. So it's a lot of the same Apple Watch heart rate gubbins in these sensors, basically. So does that make them more accurate?
Your personal trainer, Mark Fox, he's a big fan of the accuracy of the Apple Watch heart rate stuff.
He is.
And obviously that's his job to know this stuff. And he's like, well, that's what I use for my workouts and things, because I just find that other things aren't quite as accurate. So the benefits of the Powerbeats Pro is longer battery life. Obviously, you've got the heart rate sensor, which are, you know, your Shocks and your AirPods Pro don't have. You've got the better fit. You've got colours. Comes in Larry Orange. That's a big plus.
Yeah. Oh, that's my favourite thing.
But the charging case is colossal, relatively speaking, which I guess contributes to its longevity. But also the price, because it's brand new, they're 250 quid, and you can get AirPods Pro 2 for way under 200 if you shop around and wait for a deal. About 180, I think, is about the going rate if you get a good deal on AirPods Pro 2. And the thing about AirPods Pro 2 is that they're so much better now than when they came out. Just all of the features that they've packed in through like firmware updates. So you've got like the adaptive audio, conversation awareness. They've improved the automatic switching, voice isolation, Siri interaction, so you can shake your head and whatever to interact with Siri. Personalized spatial audio, hearing protection, the hearing test, the hearing aid functionality. I think the AirPods Pro 2 are still all things considered. There are various other options for true wireless earbuds. There are options that sound better. There are options that have got better battery life. Are there any that have got better noise cancelling?
No, not in my experience. There's some that come very close.
So I think they're still the king for noise cancelling and transparency mode. But you know, you got who was it? Is it JBL that had that one with the cool case that's got a display on it?
The Tour Pro.
There are no shortage of options in the true wireless earbud space, but I still think that for most people, most of the time, AirPods Pro 2 is where it's at.
I think so, if you're an Apple person, but a lot of people aren't they? And I don't know. The case, just very quickly, is very big, very big. I'm aware, by the way, that I'm not looking at the camera because it's too high up. Everything about this setup is wrong, Rob. It's just, this was a really bad idea. The audio, camera, but I'm just going to keep looking at the screen. So anyway, who cares? The case is massive, but it's 33% smaller than the previous case. But then again, I never experienced the first generation of Powerbeats Pro, so I can't really comment on that. But it's big. The price, having said that, there's lots of rumors at the moment about AirPods Pro 3, isn't there? No indication when that's going to be, but some people are saying that's going to potentially be quite soon, which again pushes up the price of those again, doesn't it? Because they'll be back to this kind of 250 mark.
What can they do with AirPods Pro 3 though? Because AirPods Pro 2 are so good. So I've got, as you know, I've got some ludicrously expensive. I think they're like 900 quid. If you pay full price for them, like my Bang & Olufsen H95s. I think there's an H100 now, which is like over £1,000. It's ludicrous. I don't need some of those. And the reason I don't need them is because I don't even use my H95s except for special occasions, really, because it's just if I really want to listen to something and have it as detailed as possible, then I'll crank those out. But they're just bigger and heavier, and I've always got the AirPods Pro 2 on my person in a fun case.
Awesome, love that reference. I don't think I mentioned this, but I lost mine again not that long ago. So I went to, I think it was Heathrow Terminal 4 or something, and did that thing where I'd stayed at a Heathrow hotel the night before the flight, got onto the bus at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and halfway from there to the airport had that Find My thing saying, you've left your AirPods Pro somewhere. I thought, no, I haven't. They're in my pocket. And I had the case in the pocket, got the case out, opened them, empty, obviously. And then I remembered the night before, for some reason, taking them out of my ears and not putting them back into the case, just putting them on the bed. So they were lost, basically, in Heathrow Holiday Inn something. They arrived, they reappeared 2 days ago in a little white envelope, because the very nice people at the hotel found them and posted them back. But I genuinely really missed them. And the most annoying thing about that period was that the only other AirPods I had were the AirPods 4 with ANC, which are brilliant, but I've got a weird left ear and they fall out all the time, so I can't really wear them. It just reminded me of how frustrating the AirPods 4 are. Whereas the AirPods Pro, because they have the rubber tip, work. They just stay in, don't fall out.
Yeah. So what can they do? That's just what I'm wondering. What can they do to make me cough up 250 quid or more, probably, for AirPods Pro 3? Because they sound fantastic. The battery life is still good. They keep throwing features at it. I genuinely don't know what they can do.
Colours.
Orange.
Orange.
Yeah,
well, that'd be
it's not
nice,
happening.
they won't do that.
I mean,
They'll never do that.
AirPods are white, and that's that.
Yeah. I guess maybe better, more battery life, maybe. It will be something. It will be health related. There'll be a sensor. There'll be a new sensor.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, heart rate. But again, I'm not convinced about that. Lossless audio, maybe. But
I don't think the heart rate thing.
I don't really care about that either.
I don't think the heart rate thing makes sense because I asked this at the press briefing. I said, "What if you've got an Apple Watch and you've got the Powerbeats Pro 2? Which one does the iPhone favour?" And straight away they said it's the Apple Watch, obviously. So bearing in mind, AirPods Pro are pretty. Although you can use them on an Android phone, they're pretty much just for Apple people, and most Apple people have an Apple Watch. It would be a bit of a weird feature to include and then say, "Oh, but by the way, your Apple Watch disregards the fact that you've got them in your ears as well." It'll be kind of temperature sensor maybe, or something we haven't thought of. I think it'll be health related if they do anything with it, which is great for the people that provides a benefit for. But for me, I guess not like you say, there's not much more they can do really.
Yeah. Well,
lossless, not bothered about that.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of would be lossless audio. But given that I'm now mostly listening to music via YouTube, my YouTube Premium subscription, and I've got no idea what the bitrate is. I just know it sounds fine. I don't know how much I care about lossless now. Anyway, so yeah.
Do you think this is just quickly on that? Do you think this is like an age thing? I'm not saying. I mean, I know we're roughly the same age. Because I think in one of my upcoming videos, I talk about the fact that, a bit of a spoiler, I'm not switching to the S25 Ultra, and the only reason for it is because I use a MacBook Pro. And yes, I know there's workarounds, or I just can't be bothered. And I think if it was in my 30s, I might be a little bit more bothered to try it and invest time in it. But because I'm in my 40s and I have a 2.5-year-old son, my patience for anything is just waning. And I think things like that, where, like you say, YouTube music sounds fine. Why spend loads of time, investing in more expensive hi-fi streaming services? And is it an age thing? Are we just simplistic?
Yeah, probably. We're just getting old and grumpy, aren't we? Did you try YouTube Music? 'Cause I mentioned this a while back.
No.
You should have a look at it. And so the reason I've stuck with it, apart from cost, because obviously I want to remove the ads. I'm going to pay to remove the ads on YouTube anyway, which is a must these days, I think, because they've really ramped it up in recent years. It's the new content surfacing. So, have you seen what's he called? Stephen Wilson Jr. So not the Stephen Wilson from Porcupine Tree, and the Stephen Wilson, the producer. This is Stephen with a PH. I think he's all over the place at the moment. He's really sort of blown up. But YouTube Music surfaced this performance of a song called "I'm a Song," And I don't know whether it's the song itself or the way that he performed it, because he just does it's just him and interestingly a nylon strung acoustic guitar, which is quite unusual. That's a classical guitar traditionally, but he's playing it in a sort of country pop with a bit of a grungy kind of edge. His voice is really it's really 90s grunge. He kind of, we're talking sort of Chris Cornell, Soundgarden kind of vibe he's got going on. Anyway, so Stephen Wilson Jr. The song is called I'm a Song, and it's a live performance. And I forget hang on, let me look up. I'll put a link in the show notes anyway. I'm not going to look it up now. But I don't know whether it's the way that he performed it or the song itself, because it's quite an emotive song. All the backstory. So the story behind the song was he's been just a jobbing musician for decades, and it's just never really got anywhere. And he's sort of performing in local open stage nights and whatever. And so he performed this song, and his dad was watching, and his dad recorded it and said, "You know what? That's my favourite song that you've ever written." Fast forward a bit later, he'd sort of forgotten about the song, and his dad, remembered it and had dug out this recording and said, "Hey, do you remember this one? You should play this one more." And he was like, "Nah." And he's like, "No, this is my favourite song, not just that you've written, just ever." And shortly after that he died, and so he played it at his dad's funeral and then just couldn't bring himself to play it again for another 5 years, and then played it on this show, and you can feel it. It's just another level of performance. And so it's a really unusual guy. I say he plays an unusual instrument. It's tuned strangely, and he sings with his mouth closed, with a kind of Chris Cornell vibe, but it's like country pop music. It just doesn't. None of it makes any sense. But if you watch it, and if you've got, if you are affected by music on that sort of level, I think it will get you right in the feels. But I wouldn't have found that without YouTube Music, I don't think.
So it's got a very good recommendation engine.
Yeah, I think it's second on, which was a crown previously held by Spotify. I felt Spotify was always really good at finding you content that you pretty much always liked. And in actual fact, in recent years, I tried Deezer. I was very pleased with Deezer as well. But no, I think YouTube Music, I don't know what the technical specifications are of it. I can just tell you that it sounds all right. And it costs me less than paying for YouTube Premium and some other music service.
Which is what matters, isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I'll include a link on it for that. And yeah, just let us know what you think. What did I want to talk to you about? Oh, you've been hooning it around in a Seal, haven't you?
Driving very carefully, Rob, and the speed limit.
Oh, yeah. You're not MKBHD.
MKBHP. Still my favourite comment ever. The BYD Seal. Yeah, does everyone know what the BYD Seal is? Because it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? I think BYD is now pretty much a known car brand in the UK. I'd noticed the other day we've got a dealership, a BYD dealership in Leamington. Just came out of nowhere, which is interesting. But yeah, I think most people know what BYD is, don't they?
Is Leamington the target market for BYD?
There's a lot of Range Rovers in Leamington.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not the kind of place you expect to see many Dacias, is it?
You do, though, to be fair. I mean, there are quite a few. A strange place for it to pop up. And it's right next to like a kind of prestige supercar dealership, which I found very amusing. You might go, be looking at a McLaren P1 and then decide to go check out the BYD Atto 3, just in case it's better. So I had a BYD Seal. So the Seal is it's BYD's. They don't say this, but it's their Tesla Model 3 competitor. Very clearly, it looks quite familiar. I won't say what it looks like, but there's another tech brand that appears to be using a very similar design for their car, which isn't out yet, I don't think. Or is it out in China? I don't know. Who cares? But anyway, it's a saloon EV, obviously, and it's about 45 grand in the UK, I think. which is kind of Model 3 money, a little bit cheaper possibly. And it's nice. It's a nice car. It's I enjoyed. I've done a little review of it on the second channel, so on the Tech Diary, did a little driving review thing of it, and it's BYD cars are interesting. They're kind of, they sit somewhere between pretending to be more premium than they are, and clearly not quite as premium as they are, if you like. So some of the build quality is a little bit on the interior, probably not up to 45, 50 grand's worth of car. Not terrible, but just a bit like, okay.
Has it got a guitar in the back?
I forgot about that. Yeah, so the Atto 3 it's got like these weird stringy things, hasn't it, which act as the door pockets, but they're tuned to play certain, can't think what notes they were, or if they even are tuned, probably not. But yeah, you could strum them, couldn't you? And kind of.
Yeah. That's not in the Seal.
No, that wasn't in the Seal.
All I really want to know about the Seal is it a viable alternative to the Tesla Model 3 for people who don't want to give any money to Elon Musk?
Yeah, well, so I published a little short form video about this on TikTok and Instagram, and as you would possibly guess, so what I did, I kind of goaded the audience by saying, is this the Model 3 compared? Is this better than the Model 3? I never really answered that in the video because that really annoys people, and that's quite fun on TikTok. Also, I didn't mention the pricing because I knew that annoys people on TikTok as well. And what happens is loads of people comment, and that works. So thanks, TikTok. But the comment thread is worth watching. If we can link to it in the show notes, we'll do it. Just kind of the comments are still coming every second. There's a new comment coming through, and they're all pretty much saying the same thing, which isn't particularly favourable of the Tesla Model 3. Not because of the car, obviously, but because of the ownership structure and what's going on at the moment in the world. Just fascinating. It's worth spending 5 minutes reading through that comment thread. You'll see what's going on. But if you take all of that out of it, all of the political stuff, just think of it like a car. Let's just forget that stuff for the minute. The Seal is absolutely a competitor for the Tesla and the Model 3. But the Model 3, again, taking everything out of the equation, literally everything. Let's pretend it's made by Paddington Bear, is a very good car. I really imagine if it was made by Paddington Bear. Where did that come from?
You have a marmalade sandwich in the glove box.
It's a really good car, really fun car to drive. It just doesn't have enough buttons inside. That's the biggest problem with it. Whereas the BYD Seal does have some buttons, although really annoyingly, and this kind of really sums up modern cars, it has a heated steering wheel, which, as you know, is life-changing. One of the best.
It's the one, isn't it?
Amazing, isn't it? But you will never want a car without a heated steering wheel ever again. So it's got that. But I bet, has yours got a button on the steering wheel for the heated steering wheel?
Well, so it's on the center console thingy.
Somewhere fairly obvious. Not in the Seal. It's not anywhere. It's in the. You have to about 3 button presses in the system, in the infotainment to find it. Or you can say, "Hi BYD, turn it on, turn it off," and it does respond. But just put a button on the steering wheel. Every other car I've used that has a heated steering wheel has a heated steering wheel button on the steering wheel. And it's dangerous, you're driving down anyway. That aside, that's quite small.
Well, that's one of the best things about the Kia Sportage is that for all of the things that you actually use, there's a physical button for it. Which, as I say, because we drove a bunch of other marques, and everyone's just moving everything into a touchscreen, which is just you need physical tactile buttons. It's faster. I think moving the amount of stuff that they have into touchscreens is dangerous, frankly, because it's just so much fat.
The Tesla, you see what you do, how you put a Tesla into drive now. There's nothing. No. There's no button for it. There's no drive select or anything. It's on the screen. You have to press the screen and go like that. Swipe upwards to put it into drive, and then swipe downwards to put it into reverse, which you get used to after about a week. But it's really weird, and like you say, potentially quite dangerous because you have to think about this. It doesn't come naturally, and I don't know. Tactile buttons. Yeah, I think you've picked the right car from the sounds of it. If it's got more buttons.
That's one of the main reasons, apart from the price and the ridiculous deal we got on it, and all the toys it's got. It was just the cabin layout just made more sense. Yeah. Oh, and the cargo space, it's got a colossal boot. Anyway, should we talk about some tech?
Yeah. Yeah. What we've just, how long
Are
have we
we
been going? Half an hour. Yeah.
are we excited about the Apple event on the 19th? So Daddy
Right, yeah.
Tim put out a tweet yesterday, I think, inviting us to get excited about an Apple event on the 19th.
Yeah, to meet the newest member of the family, as he said, which is the iPhone SE, isn't it? It's got
Yeah.
to be that, hasn't it?
But what else? What else? We don't know. We'll find out. I'm excited. I really hope they
Oh yeah.
unveil some of their smart home vision.
I don't think they will. I think it's just going to be the
Too
iPhone
early
SE
for that.
personally. Maybe AirPods Pro 3. Maybe they're coming as well. Who knows? But I think it's just going to be an iPhone SE thing. And I'm very
They're not
curious
going to
about that.
unveil a whole event just for it. There'll be some other stuff, surely. Or they're just going to M4 some more stuff.
They might, yeah. Maybe we'll get new MacBook Airs, maybe with the M4, perhaps. I don't know. I've not heard anything, by the way. It's not, it's not as though we've been given any kind of pre-warning about a new Mac, which sometimes happens. That hasn't happened. Same thing with the iPad. No mention of that. So, but the iPhone SE, I'm fascinated by that only because I think I can feel quite a ranty video coming on if it's not very interesting. Mainly because they've kind of backed themselves into a corner with the iPhone 16 because the iPhone 16 is lagging behind the Android competition with things like the display and charging speeds and various other things, and the camera system actually to a degree. They can't really make the iPhone SE better than that, which means the iPhone SE is going to come in as a mid-range phone into a market of Android phones, which it cannot compete against because they are so far ahead for all those things, for display quality, for camera.
Yeah, it's the iPhone for your nan, though, isn't it? She doesn't care about that. So
It will still sell on the bucket load, of course it will, but it's just really annoying, isn't it? And also, without going on too much of another rant, I don't know if you've experienced this recently, but my iPhone isn't performing very well at the moment at all. I've had multiple kind of slowdown issues with it. It's been I've turned off Apple Intelligence because someone said to me, "It's Apple Intelligence. Turn it off. That's what's causing it."
yeah, well, I did as well.
I did that, and immediately I thought, "Oh, this feels better," and then realised a couple of days later that no, it's not any better at all. And what I mean by that is that if I'm texting, if I'm typing stuff in, it just doesn't feel very snappy anymore. It did a weird thing yesterday for most of the day where the entire interface just slowed down. It wasn't in battery saving mode or anything like that, and nothing really was running that should be causing any problems. Wasn't getting hot, but it was just like, I'm not a massively happy iPhone user at the moment. And very quickly, another rant about it. I can't mention what it is because it's embargoed, but we've got a video coming out next week where the most of the video is shot on the front-facing camera on this. And there's instances where it looks awful, in particular white balance shifting and all sorts of stuff. And I tried to use the studio, Abbey Road quality mic that's in here to record a slight little intro for that video, and we've had to bin it because it sounded horrendous. I'm not a happy iPhone user at the minute.
If you checked that Apple Intelligence is still disabled, because there have been a couple of updates. So 18.3.1, certainly it re-enabled itself for me, because I noticed. So when I first updated to iOS 18, gave Apple Intelligence a go, determined that it was bollocks, and turned it off. And then there've been like point releases since then, and then it just keeps coming back like a turd that won't flush. All right.
But
yeah, whenever it is on, I do notice the performance issues, and it absolutely tanks the battery. So I hate the new Photos app. So yeah, I'm similarly unhappy. God. But I think there's a combination of perhaps there is some genuine slowdown, but also you've been using One UI 7, which is ludicrously snappy. They've really done a number on that. They've taken out all of the bloat and the glitches and the hangs, and it's like butter.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's what it is. I have just noticed I've not updated to the very latest iOS, so hands up, I'll give that a go. But no, I think One UI 7 has played a massive role in that, but not just One UI 7. I've been using what's it called, Oxygen OS in the OnePlus 13, and in fact every other version of Android I've used in the last 2 or 3 months has been better than iOS. I'll be completely honest.
And Magic OS on the Honor is lovely as well.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, really good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a very happy iPhone user at the minute. I'm finding myself just using the iPhone really, again, because of AirDrop. Because it's so easy to get things off that onto my Mac, and that's not much of an ownership. That's not really an enjoyable ownership experience, is it?
No.
Right. Sorry, Tim. Not happy.
Well, I can add to the Apple bashing if you like. Tell you a story about something I did recently.
Why
not? I took my daughter out to Clip and Climb. You familiar with Clip and Climb? I imagine no, Harrison's a little bit too young for it. Maybe yeah. I think sort of 4 is as young as you can get away with. So Clip and Climb, it's basically just like bouldering for small people. So you clip onto a rope, and then you can climb up a variety of structures, and it doesn't matter if you fall off because you're attached to the rope, and that rapidly decelerates you, so you just smoothly fall down to the ground. So I took her out to that, and because she was so high up, I needed to use the 5X telly, and I took some photos on my on the 15 Pro Max, and I had the S24 Ultra with me. I thought, well, because I'm enjoying One UI 7 so much, and incidentally, the battery life on the S25 Ultra, even though it's a year old, is still absolutely spanking the iPhone. Because remember, when I first got the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I was getting into my 3rd day with it. I'm lucky if I make it through 1 now. But the S24 Ultra, it just keeps going, doesn't it? And I imagine the S25 Ultra with its more efficient chip. So anyway, so I thought, right, we got the One UI 7, we got the cool new photo app where they've moved the controls into places. And I was wondering if they'd done anything to their algorithm, but no. I took half a dozen photos with the S24 Ultra using the 5X telly. Didn't get the photo I wanted. First try with the iPhone, it nailed it first time as it always does. There, that 5X on the iPhone is spectacular. Although, having said, there's a new Zoom king in town, isn't there? The Vivo X200 Pro is now the king of Zoom, isn't it?
It's the benefit of sitting here. I can just get a lot of these phones out. That one, yeah. This is the best camera phone ever by quite a margin. I suppose the only problem with the iPhone is that you then need to go and find the photo in the Photos app, which, like I said before, is just the worst. I don't know what they've done to that, but it's just horrendous.
Yeah. Right, so shall I see if I can share them? Hang on. Well, let me see if I can share these photos. That's
and this is another reminder that you can watch us on YouTube and actually see whatever it is that Rob's about to share.
Can you see what I'm seeing?
I can see what you're seeing.
Okay, so that is where she was, right? That's pretty high up, isn't it?
Okay, let's take me out of this so I can see you. How do I choose you? How does this work? There we go. Go for it. Okay, yep.
Yeah, I mean that
is high.
That's worryingly high up. So regular lens is not going to cut it, hence needing the telly. Now, it wasn't this particular bit of apparatus that I wanted to photograph her on, but here is, what's this one? So there's an S24 Ultra, missed the moment entirely because she's looking away. There's another one where it's sort of blurring. I don't know how well this comes across via screen share and over StreamYard. Another blurry out of focus one. Basically, it kept missing it. I took one photo with the iPhone, boom, nailed it. And as I say, she was similarly high up. You can see you've got the roof of the leisure centre up there.
She's brave, much braver than me.
I think they just are at that age. They've got no sense of danger, have they? But anyway, so I think that wasn't actually what I wanted to talk to you about. What I wanted to talk, so people love a photo comparison. I also had on another time I took out the Magic V3 and I took a couple of photos. So here is one that I took where she, so we ran out for. This is after a swimming lesson. We went out for a post-swimming treat, and while we were waiting for our treat, she was colouring in a giraffe. Anyway, so I took that photo, and I took this photo. Different devices. One's the iPhone, one's the Magic V3. I posted them blind on the Discord, and 75% of respondents preferred This one, which the Magic V3 took.
Oh, I was going to say that was the iPhone.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I've done this before, haven't I? Where I've taken photos and people thought that the photo that the Magic V3 took looks more iPhone-y than than an actual iPhone.
How have they managed that? Interesting. Yeah, I would have absolutely picked the other one.
Yeah,
interesting.
So just on the subject of Apple batteries, I'm similarly kind of just. But I still can't move to Android because of the ecosystem. Now, when you say ecosystem, I think you mean something different to what I mean. So, when you say ecosystem, you basically mean AirDrop and the intercompatibility of Apple devices. When I say ecosystem, I mean the broader everything, because of just the massive variety of accessories you can get. Your charging stands and your watch straps and your stands for your Mac, like the Satechi hub that you can get for the new Mac Mini. There's such a broad, and it's all really good quality as well. As I'm not saying that you can't get third-party straps and stands and things for Android wearables, and because obviously you can, but there's just more of it, and it's better quality, I find. So, and I'm really into that. Like, you're not going to get a case like that for your Galaxy Buds 3, are you?
You're not, no. I mean, for me, it's the Mac. It's Mac OS. Funnily enough, I'm testing a Samsung Galaxy. Let me get this right. Samsung Book 5 Pro, whatever their latest big 16-inch laptop is. Just setting up this morning. It's a lovely laptop, really nice. But it's running Windows, and immediately I feel in this foreign. Well, the first thing I do is install PowerToys and change the entire keyboard layout so it's basically a Mac. But even once I've done that, it still feels so foreign. And I got to this. That was at home. Got to the studio, turned on my Mac Mini, and it's just like, there we go, nice. I love the Mac. I'm such a massive Mac fanboy.
Wow! Here's a throw a spanner in the works. So one of the most recent Windows Insider betas of Windows 11, they've massively upped the interoperability with iPhone, so that you've effectively got AirDrop on Windows. So that might be. So it's not. If you have to opt into it, and I don't know whether you can or should do that on a loaner device. But at some point in the future, it'll become standard functionality. So when probably by the time you next get a Windows laptop to look at, it'll be standard functionality that you'll be able to use Phone Link to better link an iPhone to Windows, which might be worth looking at.
Yeah, I need to, definitely. I mean, we did a survey.
Oh no, actually, no. What am I talking about? You can use Phone Link anyway with with a Android phone that you prefer that you would otherwise not use. So have you tried Phone Link setting up?
No, I've set it up. So I did set it this morning, and I had to come into the studio, but it's all ready to go. Absolutely.
It's all right. It's quite good.
Yeah, does the job.
Yeah.
The thing is, for me though, it's more the fact that I will always be a Mac user. That's not going to change. As much as I want to keep testing Windows laptops, and we did a survey recently with the newsletter and found out that more people than we think who read the newsletter and watch the channel are Windows users, which is really interesting, and it means that we've got to serve that a bit better. So, but regardless of that, I'm still going to be a Mac user probably for the rest of my life. Yeah. And because of that, the iPhone is just, again, coming back to being in my 40s now and having very limited patience with anything. It's just the easiest thing to move things between both devices. And that is, like you said, that is what I mean by ecosystem. Because, and again, I can't, there's something we're reviewing next week, which I can't mention. Can I mention? No, I can mention, can't I? The OnePlus Watch 3.
This is on the list actually, so I'm not related. I didn't know that you knew anything about it, but I'm excited about that because the crown actually works this time.
I can't say anything about it. I can show you. Yeah. Can I show you an image? I won't do it. I did publish an image on Instagram because I was allowed to. I won't, just in case I won't do it now. But so I can't say anything about it. I can't give any opinion on it. But the review for this will be hitting the channel next week.
But I mean, factually, the OnePlus Watch 2 had a rotating dial that just didn't do anything. It was just for show, wasn't it? But it now.
I never reviewed that. I never had that. I did review the 2R, their kind of budget version last year, which was a great, really good watch. But yeah, I never actually had hands on with the 2, so I can't really comment on that. But
well, okay.
Yeah,
so
I can.
I can talk about it. I think it'll be the Android wearable to beat. I really like the dual OS business. So it's got a, what has it got on it? Has it got a Snapdragon or an X? It doesn't matter what it's got on it. It's running Wear OS. It'll be rubbish. But for the for the smartwatch stuff, it's got all of the gubbins to do that. But then when you just want to use it when you're not doing smartwatch stuff and you just want to use it as a watch, it's got a low power secondary, engine to deliver 5 days of battery life, which is cool. But I'm of the opinion that Apple, if they wanted to, they could give you more than 18 hours battery life on an Apple Watch, but they don't want to because of the user behavior. So I've found this when I've switched over to using my Galaxy Watch and the S24 Ultra. I have found that because it's an up to 2-day watch, I get out of the habit of charging it, and so I'll get to some point after the first day where it will die. Which is not a problem I have with the Apple Watch because I've got the habit. That habit is formed of charging it every day. You stick it on in the morning when you're having a shower, and then you're good to go for the rest of the day. So I think that they've made a deliberate usability choice in terms of human behavior to limit it to 1 day, so that you're never in that situation where you don't know whether you're on day 3 of 5 or day 4 of 5, and you haven't charged it and then you need it and it's died.
I guess so. I think that the problem, though, is that, again, and if that's all you know, and this is the case for most normal people, they'll buy an Apple Watch and just keep using it. They're not going between that and a OnePlus watch and a Huawei watch and doing what I do, because that's not normal behavior. But when you do that, you then realize that behavior just changes. So if you know that you can get a week out of your watch, you'll charge it every Friday. And also because all of these watches charge quick. The Apple Watch is the same. Most of these watches charge very quickly. So you stick them on the charger, within an hour, they're done. Basically, you've got your whatever the maximum amount of battery is back in the tank. I think the cadence of charging just changes. So if it's every Friday that you do it versus every couple of days or whatever, you get used to that. And then when you get used to that, you then start, and you go back to the Apple Watch. You then start thinking, well, why do it just keeps running out? And that's what I found. I've been going backwards and forwards between things like the Huawei Watch Ultimate, which has really good multi-day battery life, back to the Apple Watch Series 10. And I got really fed up with the Series 10 to the point where it's just, I've put it in the drawer now. And I went then back to the Ultra, the Watch Ultra 1. And that was a bit better, getting a few more days out of it. But even so, I kept being tripped up by it because I was expecting longer. I'd got used to having longer battery life with other watches.
I do have an anecdote about the Series 10. So you know how much thinner it is, and that the lugs are lower and it sits flush on your wrist and it's more comfortable and all of that sort of stuff. My problem with it is that I have got a flat charger. So here I am going on about how it's just become part of my routine where I'll put it on to charge every day and I don't even think about it. It's not an annoyance. And I have experienced multi-day smartwatch capability with the Galaxy Watch. My issue with it is that where it sits so low, on more than one occasion I have plonked it down on the charger, and because the lugs are so low, the strap sort of pops it off the charger. So I think that it's engaged, but it hasn't. And so I'll come back and I'm like, well, that hasn't charged at all. So yeah, swings and roundabouts in it. But I'll tell you what OnePlus are not releasing is the global variant of the Oppo Find N5.
Yeah.
You're familiar with the Oppo Find N5, which is now the new thinnest foldable phone on the planet. Looks fantastic. But we're not going to get it here, which kind of sucks.
No. It's a shame, isn't it? Particularly when the N5 clearly exists, because we've seen photos of it and people have had hands on with it. So it is a shame, but whatever. I mean, they've made that decision for a reason, haven't they? Maybe foldables it's a weird segment, isn't it? And we've noticed with some of the foldable stuff that we do on YouTube that it's not as highly engaged with or viewed as regular phone reviews, generally speaking. I think they're still very much a niche thing, aren't they? Maybe it just doesn't make sense for OnePlus to. That's kind of what they were saying, isn't it? They didn't say it in so many words, but if you read their little press release about it,
You see it though, it is crazy thin.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
There it is next to an iPhone, and it comes up to below the screws on the side of the USB-C port on an iPhone when unfolded,
Crazy.
which is madness. Although this is I recreated the shot with my V3, and it's there. It is. You can see that it is thinner. The Oppo is thinner.
It's flatter as well, isn't it?
But not by much.
No.
I really like the aesthetic of the V3. I like the curved edges, and it feels like a premium device. No, I'm sure the Oppo Find N5 does as well, but it just kind of looks like every other phone. There's something fun about. But this was taken on an S24 Ultra, obviously, because the two phones that I would have gone to first are in the photo.
But it is ridiculously thin. Yeah, crazy. We've got 5 minutes now, Rob. What do we fill the last 5 minutes with?
Oh yeah, well. So some quick PSAs. So cycling directions are now available in Apple Maps for cities outside of London. Okay. If that's important to you. You can now migrate purchases between Apple IDs, which you haven't been able to do ever. Yeah. So if you
how do you do that?
I'll put a link to. There's a support document on the Apple website, but don't do it if you're enrolled in any test flights, beta testing, because it doesn't work for that, and so you'll lose access to your test flight testing, and you'll have to re-enroll, and it's a bunch of faff. But yeah, if for whatever reason you have got some purchases tied to another Apple ID and you started a new one for whatever reason, or you just need to move some purchases between Apple IDs, you can migrate all of your stuff over. It won't migrate any intelligence like personalized recommendations and that sort of. This is all documented in the thing. Go and read the support document, but just so that you're aware that you can do that now. There's effectively a half-price studio display from Asus, the ProArt PA27JCV. Have you seen this?
No.
It's about 800 quid. Comes with an anti-glare, anti-reflective matte coating as standard. It's Kalman calibrated to below 2 delta E out of the box. It's got auto brightness, white balance, so true tone basically. It's got built-in KVM. It goes up to 500 nits, USB-C power delivery, 96 watts. It's a 5K display for half the price of a studio display. I mean, obviously it's plasticky instead of metal, but if you want that 5K goodness, then that is the cheapest way to get it, and it's an Asus ProArt, so it's probably quite good.
Nice. Need to get our hands on that from the looks of it.
Yeah, what else is happening? Oh, there's the Nothing Phone 3A will be announced on the 4th of March. That looks quite interesting. It's probably going to have a tele lens this time. It's got a full fat Snapdragon instead of a MediaTek, which the last the budget end of the Nothing range. They've been using the MediaTeks, haven't they? They're going to have Snapdragons now. Their rumours suggest it might have a camera shutter button.
Interesting.
What else is there? Oh, ages ago I supported an app from Icon Factory, long time Mac developer, Icon Factory, responsible for Twitterific amongst other things. I supported on Kickstarter an app called Tapestry, which is just a timeline feed of all of your stuff. And what's interesting about this is it's not just RSS, and it doesn't just have plugins that you can pull in feeds from other platforms. So so I've been using Reader, Reader, REEDER, which is primarily an RSS feed reader, but with the latest version, which upset a lot of people because he moved to a subscription service, but it's like £5 a year, and it's worth it. It's a really polished app. But that's got sort of predefined plugins so that you can pull in stuff from Mastodon or PixelFed or obviously not closed platforms like your Instagrams and your Twitters now, but it can hook into a bunch of feeds and blogs and just pull in stuff into one single unified timeline, which hasn't had any processing done to it. Because the trouble with platforms now is there's just peppered with ads, and they're trying to surface things that will enrage you and cause you to spread hate and all that sort of stuff. But if you just want a chronological feed of the stuff that you're interested in, Reader's a very good choice. Tapestry takes it a step further, and it's just come out of beta, but you can roll your own feeds into stuff. So for stuff that doesn't natively have an RSS feed or some other sort of XML based thing that you can tap into, it's got a set of tools which allow you to create connections to other sources of information. It's probably not for the faint-hearted, but if you like to tinker with stuff and you like the sound of a fully customized, ad-free, algorithm-free chronological timeline of the things that interest you, Tapestry might be worth a look.
Nice, yeah, looks nice as well.
Other than that, do you want to hear my Valentine's Day story?
Go for it. Why not?
So, completely independently of each other, Mrs. Rob and I bought each other exactly the same Valentine's Day card.
Wow.
And this is not from a shop or something, which might be understood. If we'd both nipped down to Tesco Express and that was like the least worst card, and we just both thought that'll do. No, we both ordered these online from different companies out of tens of thousands of options, and it's bizarre, isn't it?
Well, made for each other.
Yeah, but that thing in the middle, that's an untitled goose game, Goose. It's got a magnet in the beak. And that's the key fob for the Kia Sportage. Now, the issue with this is that Mrs. Rob keeps misplacing it. So I thought she might enjoy, because when Untitled Goose came out, we played it to death. So she loves the Untitled Goose game. So I thought if we have a dedicated thing where she can hang her fob, then she'll be less likely to lose it. And she seems very pleased with it so far. But I'll include a link to that as well, because I think everyone needs a magnetic goose in their life.
I can't believe I've not got one, to be honest. I'll have one after this, though.
Mark Fox wants one.
Oh, he does. That's another thing, guys. If you come and watch us live, you can chat on the chat on YouTube. We've had quite a few people watching this time, which is interesting, given that it's Friday morning in the UK. Thanks, guys, for jumping on. Much appreciated. I think we're going to have to cut it short there, Rob. But I think next time there should be some interesting stuff that's happened. Hopefully, we'll have maybe a new iPhone SE. Who knows? And maybe some other stuff we can talk about, which would be good. But and I won't use this mic ever again because I'm worried it's going to sound horrendous. I don't want to listen back to it on the podcast. It's going to sound horrible. I think what I'll do is rig up the proper mic, the Shure mic over here. I think image-wise it's all right, and I'm looking below the camera, but I don't care. It's more chilled out, isn't it? It feels a bit more, I don't know. And also you can see the mess, that we can see the real studio behind me, which is not that bit over there, which is always slightly more presentable.
No, I'm liking this episode. The last one was just a bit more low key, a bit more laid back, low tech. Going back to the roots of just two blokes having a chat in the pub. That's what this was always supposed to be, wasn't it?
Much better. Yeah, that's yeah. We should get a guest on again soon. I think we need another window in here with someone else in there, don't we? Like a Patrick Rambles or a Ben from Lover of Tech. Oh, funny enough, Ben from Lover of Tech has a little cameo in my video today, and it's a very good one. I just thought finally I need to get him on to do something which I never do, which hopefully it does work because I've watched it. But yeah, look out for that today.
Oh, we get one of your new YouTube friends, your Asbits or your Pete Mathesons, or
I don't know if I
who else have you met? Old Derek. Well, I've forgotten his name again. Up in Manchester,
Derek.
Zone of Tech.
Derek, Zone of Tech. Daniel's great. Yeah,
I forgot his name last time as well.
I gave Daniel a ride on the back of an ATV in Slovenia because that's what my job's all about these days. Lovely guy. Maybe, I don't think I trust Adam Asbit on this. Not for any bad reason. Just if you ever meet, he's nothing like he is in the best possible way. He's nothing like he is on YouTube in real life. Trust me, in a very good way.
Yeah, no, he's a cheeky chappy, isn't he?
You can tell, can't you? I think you can see that kind of videos. But
I think it'd be ideal. It'd be perfect.
Possibly, yeah. Okay, I'll have a think about that. See if I dare ask him. We'll get someone on anyway. Someone will come on. Awesome, right. Better crack on and do something content-wise, I suppose. And we'll catch up in 2 weeks, Rob.
All right, see you then.
Thanks, guys, for watching. Let's end the stream. See how long it takes to end the stream so we don't swear or say anything before it goes off.
Please do not say.